Hi, I'm Zoe. I'm here with the lovely Sonia, who is the Interim BIM Director. All these amazing directors, leaders of their industry have some fantastic morning routines. What is yours?
I travel quite a lot, so I get up quite early. Believe it or not, I usually get up at 4:30 in the morning, office quite early. If I'm not rushing around, I usually try and meditate for 5 minutes or so, just to kind of gather my thoughts and prepare myself for the day ahead. But if I'm traveling, which I usually do, I kind of seem to be traveling at least a couple of times a week. Cup of coffee, put my makeup on, put my clothes on, out the door.
Could you tell me a bit more about yourself and what it is that you do?
My background is in computer sciences. I did my PhD in building information modelling, and that's how I kind of got introduced into the world of built environment and engineering. My first job was with TfL, and then I joined HS2. I've been the acting BIM director with HS2 for about 4 years now. I pretty much get involved in everything from engineering itself to how do we utilise the best technologies to make sure that our engineering processes are more effective, they're more efficient, to ensuring that the implementation of BIM is consistently done across the programme. Also kind of get involved from an educational perspective in universities, academia, and presenting sort of in schools and trying to encourage younger kids to have an interest. Even though I don't come from an engineering background myself, I've ended up in this industry and I kind of try and advocate it as much as I can.
But I bet that's perfect because you kind of understand that it's difficult and it's not necessarily an industry that you think about going to.
I think when you talk about, in particular, construction, maybe not so much rail, people, especially younger kids and even university students, their initial thought and reaction is always muddy boots, which is, it's not all about muddy boots because you don't have to go on site, you don't have to be a construction manager. There's all this other amazing stuff that you can do in the background, be it education, be it HR, be it IT, be it data management, be it BIM. There are so many opportunities that you can get involved in. In a way, I was lucky because I got involved through my PhD. That opened up so many doors, but I would definitely encourage other students as well to really consider and think about coming into construction because there's so much opportunity. It's unbelievable.
So, you work for BIM. What exactly is BIM?
BIM, building information modelling, came out of the building industry and came out of architecture. There's a bit of a misconception around what it is. If you talk to pretty much everybody in the industry, everybody thinks it's 3D. I think 3D is, or the visualization aspect of design is only one part of it. If I want to put it simply, it's about better, more efficient collaborative design. So it's effectively using technology, having integrated and standardized processes to inform decision making around design, using 3D modeling tools as a mechanism or as a method to ensure that that information sharing and that collaboration is as effective as it possibly can be.
So what on earth made you interested in BIM?
My supervisor said, "Oh, are you interested in doing a PhD in BIM?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, BIM what? What does that even mean?" And when I read the proposal, none of it made any sense to me.
Okay.
Coming from a different background, completely different, but they were looking, interestingly enough, they were looking for someone with a different background to have a fresh pair of eyes on things. They were looking to bring somebody from a computer sciences background to look at the collaboration and communication side of, and the business side of BIM, not necessarily the technical side of it. So when I read the proposal, none of it made any sense. Still went for the interview, got the scholarship, and I know 6 years later, the acting BIM director in HS2. I think there's a number of different aspects to the role. There is obviously the financial and the commercial side of it, making sure that we do business planning every quarter. There is an external facing side of it where you've got to represent HS2, you've got to advocate your strategy, you've got to advocate your vision. And there is a leadership element to it as well, learning lessons from Crossrail and other major infrastructure programs, really thinking about, okay, what else can we do? How can we do something different that we can leave a legacy and really push the industry forward? The other aspect of it, which is engaging with, I think, as I said earlier, industry, either presenting at industry events or engaging with other third-party stakeholders, be it government departments, be it other major infrastructure programs, do a bit of knowledge sharing. I also get involved internationally as well because BIM is such a new concept. I think there are loads of different countries, not only around Europe, but across the world, who are taking a keen interest in, what is it? How can we adopt? Because the UK has spent so much time in developing standards. I think the focus has been purely on standardising some of the working practices, and the rest of the world are very interested in adopting some of the standards. And there's a day-to-day, responding to 30 emails an hour, to making sure we've got the right requirements in the contract, making sure that the strategy is being implemented, developing educational upskilling material, ensuring that our supply chain have the right level of capability and understanding to be able to respond to our requirements. This is what I mean by when people think about BIM, it's not all just about hands-on doing a BIM modelling or a technician role or a coordinator role where you're sat there just doing a design or managing design content. There's a lot more strategic activities that happens around it, which might be interesting to some people. It was certainly interesting for me.
Wow. So is the UK the leading expert in the policies and things? Are people around the world looking into our policies?
I would say so, yeah, absolutely. I think we are seeing more and more UK expertise being exported, mainly around the standards and policy setting side of it, as I said. If you look at America, so BIM as a concept is not actually that new. It's been around since the 1960s and 70s, but it was coined as virtual design construction in the States, and their focus was mainly on technology. Whereas the UK said, well, in order for technology adoption to be successful, you need to make sure people are bought into it, people have been upskilled and been trained, there are underlying consistent processes, there's a policy around it, that it gets implemented and gets rolled out as a transformation program. And I think it's that wrapper around it that I think is attracting everybody else, because introducing a new piece of tech is fairly easy. It's how do you treat it as a transformation and a change program and make sure it lands in the industry. And I think that's where the UK has been very successful, and I think that success has certainly been recognised across the globe.
Do you think BIM has changed the construction industry?
I think it has. As I said, the technology itself has been around for a long time. But because there is a cultural element to this where people are reluctant and resistant to change, and since BIM was introduced officially and mandated through the government construction strategy, I've definitely seen a hype, I've seen a step change. People are more interested in it, everybody's trying to get certified, they're really looking at how do we translate these standards into the context of our business and make sure that it's rolled out properly, not within the business but also across the supply chain as well.
So what makes a digital twin a powerful tool?
I think digital twin means different things to different people. So depending on your definition of it, it could mean something completely different. But based on my understanding, a digital twin is about having live connectivity between your physical assets and your digital or virtual model. Okay. And that live connectivity using IoT technology is what makes it powerful. Because not only it can enable you to become more efficient and more collaborative during design, but it can also make you smarter in the way in which you're managing your assets, and you can become more predictive when it comes to maintaining your assets. That live feed back to the digital model, again, can enable people to make decisions without having to go on site. I guess there is another level of complexity with digital twin, because you can start to throw in things like big data, you can start to throw in things like blockchain, smart contracts, so it can become very powerful if implemented truly and it's integrated with all these other great technologies that we've got out there.
So is there any kind of major roadblock that's preventing this taking off?
The culture of the industry is the biggest barrier. People are still stuck in their own old ways of doing things, they're very reluctant to change, and I think once we get over that, and some of it could be a generational thing as well, once you've got more blood into the industry, and once you've got people perhaps like myself with a different background, coming from a computer sciences or data management background, coming into the industry, they can start to realise the potential and the value that this could really add to the industry. But I suspect it'll be a good few years before we start to see any progress.
So is that the key to implementing it, getting the younger blood and trying to get that cultural change?
I think so, in my view, yes. Perhaps continue to educate and upskill and raise awareness and make sure people really understand, because again, a lot of our engineers, with all due respect, are fairly skeptical of technology.
Okay.
But if you make it easy for them, if it's
Yes.
tangible, if they can really see the benefits of it, why wouldn't they want to use it?
That was fascinating. Thank you so much.